The developers at ReLogic made a special appearance on the Terraria subreddit this week to commemorate the 10th anniversary of Terraria's release. While there were lots of questions covering mundane topics such as, their favorite item in the game, there were also comments and questions that drew out what I'm more interested in, which is things like development trivia and ReLogic's plans for the future. Their next project was raised as a topic, I might add, and this wasn't just Loki and Line 4s, We even had some rare insights provided to us by Terraria's creator, ReDigit, and the company vice president, Senix, which I have to say doesn't happen very often these days. I've included some of Senix's comments taken from recent appearance on the Terraria Discord as well, since she's been bouncing around there a bit also. And so, without further ado, here's what they revealed this week in the Q&A. Fleet Rage wrote, "Oh, I just wanted to ask if I can get any information on what Chippy said in his video. Apparently a dev said the 1.5 update is in the works." Senix appeared to answer that with, "Lol, Chippy wishes we had 1.5 in the works. He is spreading lies. If we ever do a 1.5, it will be years from now and completely random. We've been at it 10 years, we need a break." Yeah, they've been pretty clear on their roadmap at this point. They want to shoot for parity between all versions on all platforms, and then hopefully implement crossplay. And don't worry about Chippy, he gets along really well with Senix, she's just teasing. Moving along, Vazed the Truck writes, "Moonlord Legs Boss?" And Senix once again was there with, "We got really close to actually doing it." This Moonlord's Legs joke really has legs, don't you think? I've been seeing it mentioned quite a bit, but obviously it's just a joke and they're not going to do it, although they've apparently thought about it. Nicholas 3DS writes, "Terraria 2 is not the cancelled Terraria Otherworld, right? Different projects?" And Loki was here, this time with, "Terraria Otherworld is gone and not coming back. We certainly still have some design ideas from back then, but no, Terraria 2 is not and is not going to be Otherworld." And if you haven't heard of Otherworld, this is referring to an ill-fated spin-off of Terraria that they had outsourced. They announced it a few years ago now, and it only saw the light of day in the form of some teaser images and teaser trailers. It's well and truly cancelled at this point. They've been quite clear on that. And if you want to learn more about it, really there's no better way than simply searching around YouTube or Google for Terraria Otherworld. There's some neat stuff to see, some neat screenshots and videos, as I said. I don't even know how to pronounce this fellow's name, but this individual wrote, "Senix, I have a question. What is the hardest boss to code in Terraria other than Empress of Light?" Senix dutifully responded with, "Moonlord 100%. Everything about him was difficult. I think it took a month to program." Now, not knowing really anything about programming myself, I am a little surprised that it took as long as a month to code, but to be fair, the fight does incorporate a lot of really weird stuff that's not normally featured in Terraria, so I guess it makes sense they had a lot of new work to get done to make it possible. Jay's Content writes, "Senix, I think it'd be a good idea if we could play old versions via the Steam beta tester system or whatever it's called." Senix's response to this query was, "We were going to release 1.1 on Steam, but our offices flooded and I lost access to the build to do it." 1.1 perished in the flood, huh? Well, if that's true, it's a shame, but to be brutally honest, I probably wouldn't have done more than explore the old world for a bit, maybe fired up a video recorder to record some footage before packing it up again, because the latest version of Terraria is so much better. If you ever played 1.1, you'll probably agree the latest version just has so much more quality of life and content in it. It's ungodly how much better it is. Critical Moose writes, "I just wanted to ask, are there any major elements or ideas you wanted to add or include but weren't able to, either due to the engine, time, or other reasons?" ReDigit himself was there with an answer to this one, and he wrote, "At one point I really wanted to add pistons to the game, to allow players to create moving builds, but it was going to end up requiring too much work due to the engine. And that seems to be a common refrain here with Terraria. They've really been boxed in by the game's engine, and it's limited the kind of things they can do. They've said in the past they also wanted to do kind of layers where there was like a background world, but jumping between those layers just wasn't a viable thing with the game engine. So they've definitely been limited. And can you imagine what freakish player-made inventions there would have been if pistons had been added? I mean, just look at Minecraft, the kind of craziness that goes on in Minecraft. I think that would have generated enough content easily for its own YouTube channel, but alas, it didn't happen. Consideration number 7225 writes, how interconnected will the universe of Terraria and Terraria 2 be? And it was Jim Marn, one of the artists, who responded with the following. Hard to say before we even start working on Terraria 2. Time will tell. So, he confirmed that they've not really started work on a Terraria 2, but he didn't rule it out, so who knows. Gregor writes, Loki, what are some of your daily tasks as the marketing manager? Things that are not preparing posts for the community. And Loki did respond with a lot of things that have to happen behind the scenes in order for things that you can see to happen. Marketing being only one aspect. Also, pretty much on point for anything and everything in regards to how ReLogic interacts with any external party. And then all sorts of secret and random things that I could tell you, but then I would have to cast your voodoo doll into the lava. So that's, I'm afraid, all we're going to get out of Loki on that one. Techno Record writes, what's the plan for the future for the ReLogic team? Probably a question that's on many of our minds, and Senix was there to answer that one with, we are currently working on a few different things to improve the team overall. The programmers are currently working on learning and expanding their skills with Unity, and the art team has been working together on new art styles and art consistency. Once we are done with these little projects, we will move on to making a few quick game jams. After that, who knows? I do like that they're paying their staff to learn new things. I think that's good for many employer, it's good for the staff, it's good for the business, and it's good for us as the consumer. And a game jam seems like a really clever way to get some unscripted and creative development knocked out very quickly, and I hope it works. But on the other hand, I have to think that they've got a few new ideas that have been knocking around for a while since they have been working on Terraria pretty much on its own for the past 10 years, so surely they've been coming up with some ideas in the meantime. Soul Archer 916 writes, what made you come up with the idea of making the amazing game known as Terraria? And ReDigit couldn't help but respond to that flattering question with, I wanted a game that I could play with friends. I took elements from many other games that I enjoyed, like Castlevania, Minecraft, Metroid, Zelda, Dwarf Fortress, and Lero. I had to look that last one up. Lero slipped past me, I'm afraid. I have to admit I didn't hear about it, but I looked it up. Interesting looking game. Apathy Dolomite writes, what does it take to join ReLogic as an intern or an employee? And Loki answered this one with, almost all of our folks have been sourced from the community after proving they had what it takes to fill a need on the team. Ender Oxum writes, are you guys moving to Unity for the next projects you're making? Good question, and ReDigit answered it with, yeah, it seems like we will be using Unity if we make another game. If, come on ReDigit. So in summary, they'll be using Unity, they'll be trying new gameplay styles and art styles, and it's not necessarily going to be Terraria 2 that comes next. Based on what they're saying, it's going to be something completely new, I think. Something that they themselves might not really be sure about at this point. One thing is for certain though, with the 10-year anniversary behind us now, the staff at ReLogic are looking forward rather than backward, and with 10 years of work put into Terraria, it seems that all energy for growing the game has been spent, and once they've reached parity between all the platforms and maybe gotten crossplay implemented, it's on to something new. So good luck to them, because who doesn't like something new, especially when it's coming from ReLogic. Anyway, that's it for now. I'll follow up in the coming days if anything new creeps along, but that's it. As I said, this is a pretty good summary of all the less mundane questions that were asked, not to take away from those other questions, but that's really not what this channel is about. So that's it. Thanks everyone, hope you're all doing well, and I'll see you soon in another video.